All right, guys, we're going to talk today a little bit about something that has to do with the lightning thief and the chapter that you read yesterday. And in that chapter, Percy was offered a quest, and before he could actually go on that quest, is that he had to consult the oracle, and the oracle was in the attic of the big house at Camp Half Blood. Now, when he went up there, the oracle was kind of creepy and told of a prophecy. Now, what a prophecy is something that's going to happen in the future. So let's clear up what's happened with an oracle, what an oracle is, because in Greek mythology and in the Greek culture, there was really an oracle that was at this place called Delphi, a real person. Now, an oracle is considered to be someone who could tell the future. Now, we know in reality, no one can tell the future, and that's no different than during ancient times. There was nobody in the ancient times that could tell the future either. But the Greeks believed in this oracle that this person, usually a woman, could tell the future. Now, when Percy went up and talked to the oracle, gave him this prophecy and talked about how it was the oracle of Delphi and had to do with Apollo, who was the slayer of a serpent and things like that. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But I wanted to get behind some of this mythology of the oracle at Delphi to kind of clear that up so you could understand what the oracle was all about. Okay, so we're going to do with that. Now, this picture here is the ruins of the Temple of Apollo at Delphi, and that's where the oracle was during the ancient times. And we'll talk a little bit more about that, the mythology and things like that, of what actually happened to clear up the things for the lightning thief. Here's another picture of the ruins of the Temple of Apollo at Delphi. And as you can see, this is a good example of what the terrain, the geography of Greece really is. And this is on mainland Greece. It's a little bit west of the city of Athens. And you can visit there. As you can see, there's tourists that are right there. But it kind of shows the rocky, hilly, mountainous terrain of Greece. Okay? All right, now, let's talk about why did they pick Delphi? Why this place Delphi is where they had an oracle and had this temple? Well, it kind of goes with Greek mythology. According to the Greek mythology, Zeus had two eagles flying from the same point at opposite ends of the earth. Opposite ends of the earth. And when they flew together, and they literally crashed into each other and fell to the ground, according to the mythology, that is where Zeus said the center of the earth was. Not like the center of the earth, not like the big flaming ball of hot melting magma, but the center of the land that they considered to be the earth. And what they actually did, the Romans later on, they actually put a stone right in that spot. And it was at Delphi. And it was called the Amphilos, which actually translates into the navel, like your belly button. Okay, so it was the best I guess, basically Delphi was the belly button of the world. Now you can go see that belly button stone at a museum that is at Delphi if you ever visit there. And it's kind of weird that it's considered the navel, like the belly button of the world. But anyway, what happened is there's actually a spring there, an ancient spring, and it's called the Castellan Spring. And this is a picture of it. You can go visit it there, and actually you can actually drink from the spring there. And this is the same spring that the ancients used. And it's clear, pure water because it comes from a spring, comes from the earth. And you could drink from there, and it's the same spring that the ancients drank from, which is kind of creepy, weird, / kind of cool that you're drinking the same water that thousands of years ago Greeks and Romans and anybody occupied that came and drank from too. It's not the same water they drank, but it's the same place, which is kind of cool. Now, this spring was very beautiful, as you can see from the pictures. And according to the mythology, Apollo liked this spring as well, and he wanted to take it as his own. The god of the sun, liked poetry, archer, all that. That guy? Well, he liked this spring. He wanted it as his own, but unfortunately for him, there was a monster that protected it, and he had to defeat this monster, and this monster was a massive python, which was, a huge snake. So we'll talk a little bit about that battle, Apollo versus the python. Wait, that's the wrong slide. That's Apollo versus Rocky. That's a move. Sorry, my mistake. Wrong slide. I got confused. Here we go. Apollo versus the python. Now, as you can see from the statue, this is supposed to be Apollo fighting the python, the large snake, or he's trying to use the snake as a pair of pants. I'm not sure. Let's go with a fighting the python because using the snake as pants is probably a little creepy. But Apollo fought the python. He defeated it, and to commemorate his defeat of this python, he decided that he was going to build this huge temple. It's the temple of Apollo at Delphi, and this is where the oracle would be housed. Now, like I said before, oracles, no such thing. Nobody can tell the future. And what archaeologists think is, even though people would come from miles around to talk to the oracle and try to find out what their future held, archaeologists believe that there's a reason why they believed that this person could tell the future. They have found, by kind of looking at geological stuff like earthquakes and faults and things like that, they've found a fault that runs underneath this ruins of the temple. Now, a fault is kind of a crack in the earth underground, and that's kind of where earthquakes happen and stuff like that. But they've found evidence that gases that rose from the underneath the earth kind of came through this fault, this crack, and would leak into the temple. And these gases, once inhaled in low doses, you could sit up, you could talk, you could take questions and things like that, but you'd say weird stuff. And that's what the archaeologists believe happened, is that people would come to talk to the oracle. Well, the oracle was basically inhaling all these weird gases that were coming from the earth, not knowing that probably. And when people would ask the question, she would come up with some like weird answer, and people would think, oh, that's the prophecy, that's telling the future. Oh, and that's why it was all like riddle-like and didn't make sense and wasn't clear. Because she was probably, the oracle was kind of like, ooh, like that, like some people that I see here sometimes. You guys, oracles? People that are like, ooh, what, huh, what? Oh. Anyway, some of you talk in riddles sometimes. Anyway. But I hope that kind of clears up what the whole Oracle of Delphi has to do with things and how it ties into the lightning thief and Percy talking to the oracle in the attic of the big house. Okay, now, tomorrow we're going to talk a little bit more mythology. We're going to talk about the mythology of a titan named Prometheus and how he kind of ticked Zeus off, and for all our benefit, and it kind of has to do with, my Promethean board. The reason why it's called a Promethean board has to do with Greek mythology. So we'll go through that. Now, today we're going to take another practice test, because tomorrow, your gods and goddesses test, the real one, the one worth the points, the big enchilada, the big one, that is tomorrow. We're going to practice again today with another practice test, not worth any points, but to kind of get you ready for that tomorrow, okay? So be ready for that.